I'm so excited to have you for today's session. If we have never met before, I am Melissa, and I am the CEO, the main mentor, the founder of Build a Better Bakery. And what we like to do is we like to help fellow bakers cultivate their confidence, which is kind of a large issue in our industry. So we work on confidence as you're starting and growing your business. So even if you've already started a business or you're a few years in, we can still help you. And we like to focus on generating more income with less burnout so you can run your business successfully, have more time for yourself, and just be a happier entrepreneur overall. So go ahead and throw up your hashtag replay if you're here on the replay, or you can throw up your hashtag live if you're ever with me live, and then I can see that you're here. Let me double check that we are good in the group. Okay, awesome. We're good in the group. I should be able to see comments. So if you have anything to say about our debate today, which is LLC versus sole proprietorship for your tax status, let me know down in the comments. And I would say that for the most part, taxes aren't like the most exciting thing to talk about, but because January, our theme is common startup debates, I wanted to talk about this today because I see a lot of misinformation floating around about tax statuses specifically and what it all means. So I want to make sure to at least put my 2 cents in here for you so that you know kind of where I'm at after about 2 decades in the industry. And then also just to kind of squash a few myths that I've heard, I'm going to cover those down in 3 specific points I want to talk about today for this topic. I think that your requirements, when we get to these sections, your requirement for a tax status is going to be more about yourself, where you live, the team you have, etc. So there are things that you're going to need to look at to make the best decision for yourself, of course. And this is not legal or financial advice. I'm just a mentor. I'm not a lawyer. This is personal opinion from about 2 decades worth of experience in commercial baking and in home baking. And just letting you kind of know where people tend to fall. Definitely consult your lawyer or someone that's closer to you about a specific change that maybe you want to make or setting up your tax statuses in general. And at the very end, I'm going to be offering a special that's good for about 24 hours, and it's at the end of the video. And what it is a great half off code for a resource of some kind that's related to this topic. So you'll find out what that is later. Okay, throw up your hashtag live if you're here live. And if you need to stay in the know about these lives, you can check the events in the group. I usually post at the beginning of the month what we're going to be talking about. I like to be in here at 9 a.m. Mountain Time every Thursday if I am home. Sometimes I'm out of town or unavailable. I have to skip those times, or sometimes I post recorded content. So mostly it's live at 9 a.m. Mountain Time, right here in the discussion area of this group. You can also send me a friend request on the Facebook platform to Melissa Fryer. Once I accept it, you're going to be able to get automatic invites as the events are made. I believe that is the only option I have at this time to invite people directly. So that's a way to get those. You can hang out on our email list for direct replay links, but they usually get sent even up to like 3 weeks after they've happened. So depending on how quickly you want the information, that's still a good place to be because it's free. You can unsubscribe anytime. And then also subscribing to our YouTube channel where I like to post the replays. They're on demand and they're all categorized by release date. So you can just go through the list. And I also created playlists so you can click on certain playlists and see those videos in that category. So that's a good option as well. All right, now let's hop in with why I think the topic of LLC versus sole proprietorship status is so boldly debated. If you have questions about this, if there's something, if you're here for a specific reason about the topic, go ahead and put them in the comments so we can discuss as we go, because I know I see lots of people talking about this. And so again, that's why we're covering it today. Hey, Allie, good to see you. Hey, Monica, good to see you. Hope you guys are well. All right, so number one, let's hop in with not knowing what is required to open a baking business. I honestly think this is kind of just the basis of why I see confusion or debate. The short answer is yes, right? If we're selling over $600, if we have over $600 of sales, so not income, but sales in general, in the US, the laws here state that you're legally required to claim and pay taxes on that money. $600 is the threshold. So setting up your business with a tax status first or right away or very soon after you start selling is going to help you prepare for those records. So depending on which one you sign up for, you're going to have to do certain things to stay in line with those requirements. There might be forms or fees that need to be paid, etc. So we just want to make sure we're kind of doing the right thing when we're taking the money and holding on to it so that when it comes to tax time, you have everything already set up. But no, an LLC or a limited liability company tax status is not required. I see a lot of people say that they feel that it is required to open a business, and it's just not true. Especially single person business that could also qualify for a sole proprietorship status, that might be the way you want to go. So it is not required to have an LLC. You can choose either whichever one fits best, as we're going to talk about here, or when you consult with a link I'm going to send you from the IRS or a lawyer or someone local to you. They might be able to help you kind of go through your specific needs, but it really isn't a requirement, which I see a lot of people say that they think it is. Like when I hear a lot of, I'm getting started and I already have my LLC XYZ, but did you need the LLC? Is that necessary? I do see a lot of people also saying that they feel an LLC is the right way to do it, which again, not really. I mean, it depends on if you're paying your taxes, you're paying your taxes. Depending on how the IRS sees you, that's your choice. It doesn't have to be one way or the other. And as we'll talk about in a moment, an LLC can be an expensive and kind of tedious choice. So I'm not going to tell you you're wrong if you want an LLC, but I want you to really think about it rather than just jumping in because you think it's what has to be done. And I will say many small successful businesses have sole prop status. That's common. LLC isn't required to be successful. And just to slide this in here, just so everyone understands, if you're on the fence about paying taxes on your earnings at all, I know times are hard. I know some people don't pay their taxes. I'm not here to judge you, honestly. I mean, you do what you're going to do. But I will say that if you think a little bit further past this, if you're not showing income history over time and tax history with the government, as in filing taxes, you are harming your chances of receiving benefits and Social Security payouts at retirement. Because when you're working and you're paying in taxes, those show, you can actually go on the internet and look at, hey, what am I going to get paid if I get retired at this age, et cetera, based on your work history and your tax payments. So if you're not making those, you're lessening your chance that you're going to get money or get support when you're older. So I'm just putting that out there in case you've never thought about it that way. It could, help you make the choice to pay taxes if that's what you're going to do with your business. So just putting it out there. All right, let's move on to number 2. So what are the differences between the two options? I see this question a lot too. Kind of, I know that they're there. I know that I need to pick something, but why are they even different? What's going on? Now, again, this is not financial advice. I don't work for the IRS. This is just what I've seen and experienced over the last 16 years. So sole prop and LLC are the most common tax statuses that I see for bakers just across the board because they tend to fit our needs best. They can be set up for just one owner. There's usually bakers tend to work alone, or maybe they have like 1 or 2 employees or a couple contractors. And the most cost effective is going to be the sole proprietorship. So for us small home bakers who are working at home and we're trying to make an income, but we're not trying to do anything really super big, the sole prop is likely going to be your cheapest option and something that's going to cover most of what you're needing to get done anyway. Any statuses above an LLC, so there's things like partnerships, S Corp, things like that. Those businesses are likely having revenue of 100K or more per year, so they're a little bit bigger. They probably have multiple employees or owners, multiple locations, lots of assets, things like that. So really those two, I think, fit us the best. And you might have a different situation, but from what I've experienced, that's pretty common. Now, a sole proprietorship is a form of tax status that is filed along with your personal taxes. So that means when you're filing it, it just looks like income that you've made. It's not anything separate from that. And that usually means you're required to pay less overall to have that status, right? It's free to set it up. You're not paying any fees or extra licenses or anything to have that on hand. That also usually means less paperwork overall and rules involved with keeping it afloat because it's really just an extension of your own income in the eyes of the IRS. An LLC is when you create a completely new entity in the eyes of the IRS. So if you think about it, it's like you're creating another person or another thing, right? That's why there's money involved. That's why there's paperwork involved. And it means there might be something like origination fees, state fees. There's going to probably be renewal fees every year. Lots of paperwork for records that you wouldn't have to keep otherwise. Things like that that might be associated. As an example, I just want to pop this in. I just moved from California, and there it was costing at the time when I lived there $800 as a yearly fee just to have an LLC in California. That's it. So is it worth $800 to you to pay for that, or can you just be a sole proprietor and claim taxes that way? There's going to be a lot of weighing the costs and time associated with what it is doing for you. And that's going to be different for everyone. So again, just kind of taking notes about your area and asking some questions about what it would look like to get either one where you're at. Okay. Now, normally an LLC, just historically, are usually for high-risk businesses or businesses with a lot of assets to protect. I don't personally consider baking high risk or high asset. You could be in a situation where it is, as in if you're maybe working in the wedding business and you're dealing with high price tags all the time and you're moving a lot of equipment and product, and maybe you're dealing with a lot of people or serving a lot of people constantly. Maybe a lot of people are coming in and out of your establishment, or maybe you have a bunch of food trucks, things like that. I mean, you could be set up to where obviously an LLC would be a better choice. But if you're working at home from, by yourself, or if you're working in a very small studio by yourself, that's when you're going to have to weigh your options. I feel, and this is my opinion, y'all can tell me if you think this is right or not, but I feel like I've seen an LLC status become more popular over the last 5 to 10 years. I don't remember a lot of people having LLCs that were smaller bakeries before that. But I think it's because there's been this interesting push from companies like LegalZoom and other similar that you pay them to set up an LLC for you, which is literally something you could do on your own. So they're making money off you having an LLC because they set it up. So, I'm kind of thinking like maybe those are being pushed harder for sales. So people are being kind of fed that they need to have that. I hope that's not the case, but I kind of feel like it is because I don't exactly know otherwise why I've seen such an uptick. So any place that's helping you set up an LLC is getting a kickback for doing it. You're paying them for their service. So just putting that out there, if a business that's trying to get you to pay them to put up an LLC is giving you like lots of pushes to do it, that's likely why. All right. And then number 3, how would each status be used? Again, this is my personal opinion. I am not a lawyer. I'm not a tax expert. So there might be other nuances in here that I haven't heard of or seen before, but I have read the IRS website and I've been in business a long time. So I've gotten, and been mentoring people with other statuses for years. So I've gotten to see quite a bit. As a sole proprietor, it's simply how you're classifying your personal income on your taxes. So again, it's not separated into something different. That's why there's really no cost or like extra cost or extra paperwork involved, because you're really just kind of saying, hey, this is a line of income. It does not provide anything other than a way to file taxes efficiently. So it just helps you keep it separate on the paperwork and kind of see how your business is doing. Get your deductions in there so that you're paying the least amount on your income tax that you should be paying because of your deductions and everything that you have to put in for your taxes. That's going to be part of the sole proprietorship. And you can definitely use something like TurboTax Self-Employed if you like. You don't have to have, a personal tax preparer. You could. That's up to you. So it's really just, it leaves a lot of flexibility for everyone to do what they feel comfortable with. Now, because an LLC is that separate entity that we talked about, in the eyes of the IRS, right? You're creating this new thing. You may be able to use that to your advantage. So one of the selling points that I see a lot of these businesses that charge you to set up LLCs talk about is that if someone sues you, you can protect your personal assets because you've separated yourself from your business. Now, if all your paperwork, all your receipts, all your filings, all your fees are in place, everything is, T's crossed, I's dotted, and a lawyer could in no way prove that you had a part of the infraction that that suit is coming from, then yes, I think that the LLC would help out. But if you're a single person business and, it's going to be pretty easy to prove that you did it because you're the only person working there, right? So there's going to be a lot of ways that I think a lawyer could prove that you did the thing. If you have employees having an LLC, that might be, hey, we don't know who made the mistake, etc. Right? So it's definitely something to think about and ask some really deep questions about before you go through the entire process of setting up an LLC. And now if there's history, again, I know things get kind of crazy when we're running a business. So if there's any history of mixing of funds, misuse of business accounts or cards, anything that can prove that you exist in that business, that could also be a way that your LLC will not actually cover you in the case that you are sued, if they can prove that the LLC is you, essentially. So it might not actually end up protecting you the way that you think that it should. And that's usually the selling point, is people want the most protection possible. So they go for the LLC, but then they don't realize it's not really it's not foolproof, right? There's a lot of ways that it can be misused to where it won't protect you in the end. I want you to look up the terms pricing the corporate veil for more information if you're nervous about that, or if you have an LLC and you've kind of been doing some of that stuff. Look up piercing the corporate veil to read up on what that looks like. Okay, lastly, I've never heard of a baker being sued. Okay, just I don't want to make everyone feel lax about this, but I've just never heard of it. It just hasn't been part of my personal experience. Like, maybe I've seen things written online, but people lie online all the time. I have never known a person to be sued. I have seen bakers get shut down for quality and health issues. I have seen other bakers turn other bakers in for, selling stuff that they're not supposed to sell. I've seen all that. I've seen cease and desist letters from things like Disney and other corporations, all of that. But I've never actually seen someone actually get sued or have to use their LLC in that way. So just putting that out there. Now, on the other hand, I have a lot of people say, well, I have LLC for insurance purposes, but that's not the same. So again, an LLC is just a tax status. It's an entity, but it is not a form of actual insurance that would pay out. It is something that you pay into in hopes that it might protect you in the future. Insurance is something that you pay into so that you can actually pull funds for claims. And honestly, insurance is something you're going to be needing as well anyway. That's just something that's safe to have on hand. It's really not that expensive when you think about what it's doing for you. And a lot of times when you're working at certain venues, or maybe you're with a market or something, they might actually require that you show that you have up-to-date insurance. So that's something likely you're going to have anyway. And for me, what I've always done is I have opted for sole proprietorship status, and I'll mention why that is in a few moments. And then I get comprehensive insurance. So it's a multifaceted insurance, which I used to get through brokerages with 2 different insurance agencies. But I just recently noticed that the flip insurance that's really popular with bakers has extended their offers to where I can now use their services, because they have things like the online transaction insurance and things like that I need for the website. So I'm probably going to be moving over to them. And I think it's about $600 a year, which is less than I was paying with the other 2. So, and I have the extras, which you may or may not need. I think you can get basic coverage for, I think it's under $300 a year, which is pretty reasonable when we think about, just running a business in general. So what I want to do is give you a link to the IRS site discussing more on the statuses, okay? Because this is something you're going to have to look at, and you can let me know if you have questions or if you want to discuss it, feel free. I am always here to help you inside the group. So posting in the group, this is for you. This is what the group is for. Post your questions, post your wins, post your issues, whatever you need. We're here to help. I can also help over private coaching calls. That's on the Calendly website. I can send you the link for that as well if you want to talk like this on Zoom or on the phone. Or also inside the Plan for Success course, which is related to this topic of getting started up. And what that course does is it brings together all the best information on startup processes. So a lot of people say, I don't know where to start. This is what the course is. It is actually full of checklists for you to go through to get everything set up. It has mindset videos in case you're feeling nervous. It has a business plan template with a walkthrough so you can actually get all of your information in one place with videos so you understand what each section's all about and more. It's literally stocked full of tons of startup information for you. So for today's video bonus, which I've been doing every week, we're doing an opportunity where you can get half off of that Plan for Success course, but only for about 24 hours. So it's a very short term, and it's for people who are here live, and it's for people who watch us consistently. This is for you. And it's essentially like, could be a belated Christmas gift maybe for your business. And it's sitting around 63 bucks at half off. So it's a great investment. There's a money back guarantee. You can't really go wrong. If you're interested in getting started in getting 2024 set up for success, this would be a good place to start. It would be perfect for a person who wants to know more about just the steps to what needs to be done and maybe needs some inspiration to stay on track, check off the boxes, and get thriving with intention. So knowing what needs to be done, getting it done, and having a place to go back and check in and make sure everything looks right with what you're doing. Those who have taken this course said that it was more thorough than other courses that they had literally just paid for. And they appreciated the kick in the butt because some of them just needed that mental kick to move them to the next stage of actually taking action and starting to sell. And it was helping them getting their dreams started, which I thought it was difficult for them to imagine it without the course. So that's definitely great feedback. Okay, so to get that limited time offer for the Plan for Success, you're going to input code TAKE50, TAKE50 at this link, and it's valid through January 19th, end of day. So I'm going to give you over 24 hours, but I think it's good for those who watch a little bit later in the day because they work or whatever it is. I know I do this early. So that's there for you if you need it. Let me know if you have questions about the course. Flip for the win. I have them and love them. Yeah, Allie. So I didn't realize, I actually had someone asking me about insurance. So I went to that website and I started looking around. They didn't used to carry personal liability. They didn't used to carry the online liability. So that's why I never used them. I was recommending them because most people don't need those two things, but I do because of Build a Better Bakery. So yeah, I was excited to go and see that they had added all the add-ons and it was still affordable too. So it was great. Okay. So to recap for everyone, the LLC versus sole prop debate, it's just a personal decision, right? When it comes down to it, but realize that there's no laws that say you have to have one or the other. In most cases, the law is about claiming your taxes and paying your taxes, not necessarily which status you have to be under. So it's going to be based on your funds, the size of your team, your location, your specific business model, and more, right? There's lots of questions behind it. You can post and ask in the group, for input. Again, I don't think anyone is your lawyer in the group, but we could give you some suggestions. It is not required that you have an LLC, but if you make over $600 a year, it's required that you do file under sole prop at the very least. LLC is likely more expensive and time consuming to deal with. So just know that off the bat. If you move a lot like me, this is one of the reasons why I have never dipped my toes into the LLC world, is because you have to dissolve your LLC before you move and then reinstate it in a new area. I'm just not interested. I don't need it because I have the comprehensive insurance. I feel comfortable where I'm at. If you feel you need the LLC, okay, this is definitely first look at setting it up yourself. So take a look at what that is. I believe you can just get walked through the process. I don't think it's too complicated. Do that instead of paying a business to do it for you because it's going to be cheaper. And then you'll actually know what's happening and what to expect. Quick side note, I have a friend who started a cafe in California. The person who helped her set up the LLC was not clear. It did not tell her that the $800, I think it's a franchise fee in California, was going to be paid every year. She thought it was a one-time thing. Well, come January, she had to pay it again. And that was a big surprise for her, a big bill. So sometimes people that help set things up for you aren't really very good at it. So setting it up yourself might be better overall. Make sure in any case that you're keeping all your receipts. that you're making sure to have any emails or information that's useful for tax time flagged, because we want to make sure you're getting as many deductions as possible so you're paying less in income tax. You're not overpaying in income tax. And then also, if you have any contractors, just a quick reminder, because I have to do it as well, sending out your 1099s in January because that's when they're due. Okay. So that's all for today's LLC versus sole prop topic. I'll be in here every Thursday this month at 9 a.m. Mountain Time, right in the main discussion area to talk more on common startup debates. Next week is going to be all about the home or storefront debate. I'm going to kind of lay the pros and cons for those two locations out for you in case you're on the fence of what you should do. Next month in February, I think a lot of these videos might be recorded because I have a family obligation for much of February, but I'll try to be in here with some input every week, some new info for you to use, and hopefully better your business journey. Lastly, bite-sized workshops for Q1 are now available. So if you haven't seen the email yet, if you haven't seen me post in the group, I've created 3 for Q1. They're all really fun and they're all a specific topic that you may be interested in. The first one's all about snapping into gear with a professional mindset and leaving hobby mindset behind. It's going to keep you small. It's going to make income harder for you. We don't want that. So we want you to make more income with less time and less stress altogether with your professional mindset in place. So that's what we're going to be focusing on in January. It's coming up kind of fast. It goes live January 22nd. So there's a couple days to get in and register. We're going to be working from 4 to 5 p.m. Mountain Time. So it'll be in the evening. And it's also going to be available as a bundle deal. So you can get all 3 workshops together for less. Or you can, if you sign up later with the bundle deal, you'll still get the replay for this one, even if for some reason you couldn't get in before January 22nd. If you get that bundle, you'll still get the replay later. So that's going to be a benefit for anyone if you can't do it this month. So you can check them out here. I'm going to put the link up for the website. You can check out all 3 of them. You can let me know what you think. And you can get signed up if you want to join us. I'm looking forward to those. All right, I hope you all have the best day, and I will see you next week. Bye.